Hello everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur, and I make this video with a little bit of caution. Well, not caution, but really I've actually made a video like this before. This article that came out, it wasn't saying anything really that new that I hadn't talked about before, and I was wondering if there was even any point, but the fact that the New York Times and the Los Angeles Times are now covering it means that it's probably worth a second look. And there were a couple of new comments that I felt were worth addressing. And that has to do with Pittsburgh basically getting screwed by Uber on the driverless vehicle program. And if you saw that other video, I'll just briefly recap it here. San Francisco said no to the driverless cars testing. Pittsburgh decided, hey, we'll do it. And Uber made some agreements. Pittsburgh would offer this, and Uber would give them this in return, and there would be local people hired at whatever Uber was building to do this, and yeah, it's one of those things that it seemed good on paper, but as you found out 2-3 months ago, Uber basically didn't follow up on many of their offers. They didn't hire local people. They did not create jobs. And they did not make donations that they said they were going to make. And one of the new comments that speaks volumes about this is that basically the mayor of Pittsburgh did not get any of these agreements in writing. I mean, they signed the leases, of course, but apparently the paperwork that was signed definitely gave Uber all the leverage. And most of the paperwork did not stipulate that Uber had to give anything back, and whatever paperwork did stipulate that Uber had to give back didn't stipulate when they had to give it back. So in theory, Uber could wait like 1,000,000 years before making good on any of their promises. So, I mean, I'm commenting on this again because there is a lesson in this. There is a lesson in this. Get everything in writing. Get everything in writing. Don't trust Uber. And here's the thing that some people don't understand. Some people say, well, hey, Uber is a business. They are here to make money, and I agree with them. I do. But here's the thing. The fact that Uber has so willingly and publicly screwed Pittsburgh means that it's going to be very hard for them to get other cities in the United States to agree to the same terms and conditions, because the rest of the world is looking at Pittsburgh now and looking at what Uber has done, and they're like, oh, yeah, I don't know if we want to do business with that company. You can only screw so many people. Although I will say Pittsburgh probably had some unrealistic expectations, and they were probably a bit confused by what Uber was doing. I mean, for starters, they felt, oh, the driverless car program will create jobs. Well, it might create a couple jobs from people who have to store the cars at whatever location Uber builds. But the whole idea behind the driverless cars is to fire people. They were inviting someone in to fire more jobs in the long term. Also, they said, hey, Uber said that the rides would be free if it was a driverless car. And you know what? Yeah, at first, they were just testing it out. Of course they're going to be free. Now they're charging customers for the rides. Because of course they're going to. What, do you think Uber wants to get rid of all the drivers, have driverless cars on there, and then they don't have to spend any money? No, that's not the goal at all. You're kidding. You're nuts if you think that. Heck, if you believe that, I've got some real estate to sell you real cheap. Pretty old, outdated joke? Well, so's the idea of doing business with someone and not getting it in writing what they're going to bring to the table. At the moment, I'm not entirely sure if Pittsburgh can do anything because, again, from what the mayor has stated, the paperwork was not written very well, and it definitely stacks almost everything in Uber's favor. And Uber will leverage that as much as they can. The thing that Uber has to be careful of, and I know they don't care, is that they are going back on public statements publicly. And they are given this we don't care attitude, we're business, we're we're doing this, and we really don't care if you don't like us. You don't want that kind of attitude out there when you're trying to do business with other cities and other states and other countries. Can't do it. So this is why I've downgraded Uber's likelihood of surviving 2 years to 1 year. It's even little things like this. So, and that's assuming they don't lose the lawsuit and have to give them the driverless cars altogether. At that point, they would abandon whatever they built in Pittsburgh. And I wonder if they could be in breach of contract for abandonment. I don't know. It's interesting. So anyway, what do you folks think about the continued Pittsburgh situation? Do you think Uber's ever going to change? Do you think Pittsburgh should start looking at other options to get Uber out of there? I would love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos and the work I'm doing, please consider becoming a Patreon or buying some swag from the Great Media Universe store. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.